the road, not what's on this camera. But I wanted you to see what we're dealing with this morning. I think Mark's got the other camera, and he is going to be doing some filming of the flooding in our yard, the flooding at his mom's house, all flooding on top of our crops, basically. So this is why we preserve our harvest. It is all well and good that you can grow a crop, but it only takes one bad year, guys. One bad year, and you could starve to death. This is why we prep. It's not just about we're crazy and, you know, impending disasters and stuff like that. It is because anything can happen. Your freezer can go out. You just lost all the food in your freezer. You could get flooding and you just lost your crop. You could get drought. Yeah, and y'all, you know, with the price of gas, you can't afford that hike in your water bill too. You could get drought. You could be put on watering bans. I grew up in Georgia, and we had the water bans quite often, where you could only water if your last name began with a certain letter or something like that, on every other day of the week or whatever their pattern was. This is why we prep. Okay, so grow what you can, preserve your harvest, eat off of it through winter, but make sure you put enough back for the next year too, because if you have a bad season and you lose your crop, you lost your eating. Mark and I both discussed that this morning, because we may very well lose all the corn and peas at his mom's house. The ones at the house probably are going to be okay. The tomatoes, y'all know this is how blossom end rot happens, with uneven moisture. And guys, let me tell you, this rain that started this morning is definitely uneven moisture, because we haven't been getting any rain. We've been putting a little bit of water out when the plants start drooping, and that's been about it. I am on my way to Georgia today. Just about had somebody pull out in front of me, guys. Sorry about that. I am on my way to Georgia today to visit with my family, and of course, of all days, this is the day, you know, when we've got flooding going on at the house and everything. The rain, as you can see, is cleared up some, but as far as the rain at the house, we've got more coming. The rain is going through our area and going south and east instead of going north. So North Georgia is not going to be getting this rain that we just got, and it flooded worse than we have seen flooding in our house. The two ponds, water is up over the dam. You can't cross the bridge at our road. It is flooded and flowing fast, picking up logs, setting them across the road. The last time we got anywhere near this much rain, it picked up a 6-foot section of the top pavement and set it over in our pasture. So today, I don't know what the road's going to look like when the water goes down, but as you know, just because the rain stopped does not mean that the flooding has stopped, because all the water coming down the mountains is going to converge and keep flowing to the lowest points. There's your flooding. We haven't seen the crest yet. All right, guys, so I'm gonna put the camera away and pay attention to my driving. We've got some road work coming up. Not to say I'm not paying attention already, because I am, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera away because we're out of the worst of it. All right, y'all stay tuned for some more footage.
Don't drop it. Hello, this is Mark from Cedar Creek Bottoms Farmstead. Point at the water.
Is that a fish?
That's a fish. Wow.
Oh my God. Should we help it?
So you can go across and go down through yonder. There you go.
Okay, I mean.
That was a goldfish. You got, hey, turn that lens correctly. Just square it up. Alright, there you go. Yeah, there went a goldfish. Okay.
That is
Son, when you film, you can't be doing all this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a pretty good flood.
That's where the creek is.
Yeah. And
this entire area over here.
Yeah, it's all underwater. That's where the creek's coming. There's a pond right yonder. So all this over here, Mr. Sergey's property. Man, some of them hay bales underwater. You look up toward the mountain, a lot of fog coming off the mountain right now. Man, that's some bad flooding. We're up at my mother's house, and you can tell that this field is flooded. In fact, it blowed a big stump out I had out yonder in the hole. So we had done planted peas, corn in here. They probably destroyed. But this is a heck of a flood. I have never seen water but one time in my whole lifetime come up to this road right here and went over it. And a while ago, a friend of mine sent me a picture. In fact, lives right across the branch there. Sent me a picture of the water going across the road. Of course, you've seen the picture at my house, so I let it come down some before I come over here. So me and Jonathan's going to look around, see what's going on, make sure there ain't no damage. I don't think it touched my mother's house. That big fig tree there, it's up under it. But, we're going to walk right down here, look at the creek a minute, so we'll be right back. Yeah, you can see part of my peas up at the other end of the field. They're not underwater, but they come down here within about 30 foot of the road, so they'll probably be drowned. All over there was corn, so I don't know. I don't know if y'all can see that line down there, but you can see where it got up almost a foot on my mother's house. I have never seen that. I was telling my neighbor, my mother's neighbor, that I remember back in the flood of, must have been 79, 80, that it ran across the road. That was from a hurricane that came through. But I have never seen this much water up against the house. That's wild. Well, pawpaws are underwater, but the water's draining down quick, so that's a good thing. So, pear tree over there's loaded. He probably never got really touched. So, anyway, so looks like the flood of June 8th, 2022. And we got more rain coming this evening, so we'll see what takes place.
Good morning, guys. Y'all come with us on our journey. We're going to do a little bit of updating on our farm after the flood today. All right, so this is the garden that we have put down the black plastic in. And we've got it mostly planted. Yeah, we're a little behind. We stay behind, I think, this year. This black plastic really put us behind, you know, and we had the second garden we were going to cover in it too. Well, that was more trouble than we wanted to deal with this year. So we actually took it up after the flooding yesterday, or the other day. All right, so what have we got going on? We have slow growers. That's what we got going on. This first row is white scallop squash, and it is not growing very fast at all. Not sure what's going on, but a lot of our stuff is just standing here, not growing very fast at all. We're going to have to boost up the fertilizers and everything this year. So there's something going on with the weather this year that is causing most of our crops to just sit still. All right, what have we got going on these next rows? We have cucumbers. So the first set of cucumbers is either lemon or Market More or burpless. Which ones are which, I don't know anymore. We had to replace some of them got mixed up, but this first half is those. There's tomato plants at the start of the rows. We've got to get those staked up off the ground, and down there at the other end is all National Pickling cucumbers. So we will have a lot of cucumbers coming in. All right, this next row here is lima beans. This is the Dixie butter pea lima beans in these two rows. They're a bush bean. And then we have a row of just regular, you know what? This is not Dixie pea. This is the Blue Lake bush beans. That's what these are. Sorry. I've got it wrote down in the house. This row is all basils and flowers because we like to attract pollinators. These two rows are yellow wax beans. I believe the Cherokee wax bean. These two rows are different varieties of tomatoes. And then here we have more tomatoes, and in the middle, where you don't see much sprouting up yet, but it's just started coming up, is pickle bush cucumbers. Looking forward to seeing how that grows this year. And then we have two rows of, this is the Dixie butter pea, which is a lima bean, a baby lima. So those two are coming up very nice. All these beans in this is all bush beans, no poles needed. All right, these four rows have not been planted yet, although we have the tomatoes and everything right over here to plant in them. We also have some banana peppers and some more bell peppers to plant there. We have two rows of cantaloupe, and we have a row of watermelon. Now these watermelon will be running out that way. So they'll be taking over as the cantaloupe take over this section. All right. And there's the plants I still got to plant. The ponds are definitely still full from the flooding. They actually went out of the banks the other day. We had some issues with gardens flooding out as well, as you're about to see in the front garden up here. The wind and rain pulled up the black plastic for about the 4th or 5th time, so I gave up on the black plastic for this year. Now you will notice we put some dirt here because we lost some dirt. There is flooding out through this little section here, as you can see over here in the grass. We have got trenches where water just flowed through this garden. We are going to plow this up and hopefully get a lot of this planted in the next couple of days as well. This will be more tomatoes, more beans, more peppers, probably some watermelon and cantaloupe and pumpkins and squash as well. All right, stay tuned. All right, so we had something happen. As you can see, you may not can see it, that side of the road, the county came through and sprayed some sort of grass killer. And it did bite our plants. This one is recovering nicely. It is a little behind from what it should be, but there are some new leaves on here, thank goodness. This is a Fuyu persimmon. This one has also got new leaves where a lot of them came off. And you're going, how? If they sprayed over there, did it get over here? Well, because it was a windy day when they sprayed. That's how it happens. Okay, now we have one that is still struggling, but it is trying to come back. So this is our Fuyu persimmons. Now, the reason for me telling you about this is because that's the road. Cities and counties both spray the roads nowadays. So if you don't want chemicals on your plants, don't put them up by the road. Word of advice for today. All right, big field update. Again, we have stuff just sitting here. This is 2 rows of sunflowers. They are not growing very fast. You will notice that our scarecrow things have fell on the ground. The best scarecrow thing that we have found is a balloon tied to a stick, believe it or not. It moves around and it reflects the light just enough to scare off the deer. So that has been probably our best friend for getting rid of the crows and the deer. Our corn, y'all, that corn way down yonder is probably not much taller than chest high, and it's already tossing and producing ears. Yep. And guys, we have some here doing the same thing. That is not chest high. So again, corn is doing something strange. But we have pumpkins planted through here as well. And yep, so that's that. Walking on down, we've got peas. The peas are starting to grow a little bit, but again, like everything else, they are kind of just sitting here, which is just wild. Peas should be jumping. All right, 2 rows of okra, and they are starting to put out as well. They're starting to grow. We're a little behind the season out here, but the ground has to heat up enough to grow the okra seed, because we don't grow okra from plants out here. All right, so everything out this way is starting to look good. I'm not going to walk out there, guys, because this is one of the reasons we have not stood back up our little scarecrow things. Water damage. Everything out this way is still very wet. So we can't get equipment out there, and we really don't want to walk out there either to compact the soil. The first amount of green you see over there, though, is the sorghum that has come up. It is doing excellent. So, yeah. So that's an update of the big field. Just a hair too full still, guys. But doing much better than it was. Update over here, as you can see, things are just really growing. The one little tomato over here by the camellia has like tripled, quadrupled, whatever in size. The elderberries have bloomed and are producing berries now. So we have 11 of these over here up and around the fence. Some are still blooming, as you can see. We also have another one over in one of our flower gardens. But look at all of this over here too. All the peppers are just finally starting to take off, finally. The tub garden over here is doing well also. Let me zoom in there so you can see. The cucumber is going up the trellis like it's supposed to. The parsley in the front, the marigold, the basil in the middle, in the end there. Behind the basil is a dill, and then that is a habanero pepper, I think, that's planted there beside the cucumber. So all is looking good in here. The meat birds are growing well. On the 13th, they will be 8 weeks. The 3 ducks in there are so much bigger and starting to feather out now. We'll show you a video of them later. All right, the garden. This is the chicken yard garden. This is the first garden that got planted. We have been picking beans and we have been picking squash. I'm going to have to come through here with more fertilizer because we're just not getting a lot. We got to prune some of the squash some more to get the leaves off to where pollinators can see them. But guys, we got beans. I love seeing beans on here. The tomatoes are looking awesome. I need to come through here with some more string and tie a few of them up where they're coming out in the aisle like this. But look at all them tomatoes. Now, the flooding, we have gotten some spots of blossom end rot and cracking, of course. So we're going to have to improve this soil a little bit more next year. Lime is always a welcome addition. And we've got calendula mixed in here, guys. We also have leftover peanuts, and they are blooming. That means they are about to start producing peanuts. The blooms for the peanuts are above ground, and once it's pollinated, it reaches to the ground and digs into the ground on its own. Very interesting type plant if you do your research. It's not like a potato where the root is the peanut, but it actually is pollinated above ground and drops below ground when it starts forming the peanut. Very interesting. All right, so this is all the tomatoes. They are starting to look good. The cucumber is coming up. The beans are starting to go up that we planted under there. Hopefully those noodle beans will start thriving. And then we have more beans, guys. And I've got to go through here and get them running up because I've got some wild pieces that have crossed over to the tomatoes down there. Let me show you that. Yep, that is one of the beans crossing over and grabbing the tomatoes. Of course they are. All right, what else has happened due to flooding? Y'all, look at this over here. This is our sweet potatoes. The middles of this stuff is so bad wet. We have a problem with a dog that likes to dig as well. Has not been planted, but the first 2 rows have. These 2 rows have not, so we may be doing some of this on the video for the next time on how do you plant your sweet potatoes. 100-day crop just about. We still have time to get it in before our last frost, so we will be getting those in the ground pretty soon. All right, peppers. We replanted peppers and we've still got weeds. That rain is just sprouting all those seeds that aren't supposed to be sprouting. The peppers are doing well. The beans are doing well. What's next? More squash. Over here is squash. First few plants is zucchini. The rest of them are squash grown from seed. We have more beans. This is Indian corn, and it is growing very well as well. Not quite getting as much sun as I wish it would, but down there on that end it gets quite a lot. The next row is the black beans that we planted that are going to be a bush bean. And then we have this row of Rutgers tomatoes that I've got to get staked. They are just laying all over the place. So that's on the to-do list. But again, it's hard to get in there with the ground being muddy. So we are getting pushed behind again. All right, 2 rows of okra over here. Now we grow that variety of burgundy okra. Because to me, I'm able to do less work picking on burgundy because if it goes, well, what have I done? Okay, because we're able to do less work on picking okra because I can pick it every couple of days instead of like Clemson spineless where you have to pick that stuff almost every day. We planted acorn squash over here. I've got to come back and replant it. It's either that or a spaghetti squash because it did not come up. We stuck a couple of our roselle plants out here, the hibiscus for Zinger hibiscus for teas, and hopefully they'll start doing well soon. And we put a lemongrass right there in the middle where there was no okra growing. All right, guys, that is garden number 3, the chicken yard garden. And let me go over here and show you this end because actually this end is a hair bit different than the other end. Oh, I forgot about, I know I didn't, I told you we planted 2 rows so far of sweet potatoes. They're starting to grow, so. But down here, on the end of one of these rows of tomatoes, we have the white scallop squash growing and 6 tomatillo plants in the middle. Let me show you guys. They're starting to produce. I'm a happy camper. Very happy camper. All right, let's go see garden number 4. All right, Mark calls this the pink building garden. I call this garden number 4. It's the one behind the greenhouse beside the pink building. Hence the pink building. And let me show you the greenhouse. Okay, now we have some cantaloupe, I think it is, planted here. They're starting to grow. We have not plowed this under still. We may not. We may see if it reseeds and comes up for fall already. We have cantaloupe through here and some volunteer peas, it looks like. We also have peas planted. They're starting to grow pretty decent. And we have another variety of corn over here. Now again, like I said, awesome scarecrow. Keeps the deer out of here. There's our problem though. Sister goes running through there and doesn't pay attention to what she's running through and tramples plants and stuff. Yep. Sister is our crop killer. Her and Marshall both. And she's off to the woods. Hey, Trouble. Did you dig you out a hole to lay in? You did, didn't you? Good boy. You're getting old, boy. Alright, guys. So, as far as the flood goes, most of the crops are going to be fine. The fields have receded pretty quickly. Even the one at his mom's, the plants are all standing up tall. Everything looks good. So as far as casualties to our farm, we didn't have many, except right here. So most all of our meat birds did not make it through the flooding. Why? Well, it didn't flood right here, but the wind was coming down at such a force that it blew through the sides of this coop. And the batch before, I had sides put up to prevent rainwater from blowing in on the birds, but this time I did not. So they pretty much got back there in the very back corner, huddled up under the heat lamp, and kind of smothered each other to death, basically, is what happened. So we ended up with 4 meat birds left, and the 1 Brahma, 2 Easter eggers, and 1 Wyandotte. And you're probably thinking, well, that's a lot of birds in there. So why is there more birds in here than what survived? Well, we went back to Tractor Supply to see if they had more meat birds, which they did not, but they did have what I like to call pip-pips. And this one, I'm going to bet, is a male, just from the way he's standing. They're turkeys. We got turkeys in here. We also got some more Wyandottes because we will be replacing our coryza positive flock. And we got to have layers ready to go when we decide to cull all of ours. So these are our new baby turkeys, guys. There's 9 of them in here. So say welcome to the pip-pips. That one's going to be a male, I almost guarantee it. He's walking like a male would walk even. So you're going to be a male. Alright, what else is back there? There are 4 guinea keats back there too. Of course, they like to stay in that back corner. They don't like to come out. And there are some Wyandottes back there. Yep, my husband come bringing home Wyandottes as well. So, y'all enjoy the cuteness for a minute. If you like what we're doing, please like our videos. Leave us a comment. We always like to get comments. Always subscribe. Hit the notification bell to where you'll see new videos coming out. And share, guys. That's what helps us the most, getting new views on our videos. We like to teach. We like to spread the word. This channel started as a thing that we had been asked by our neighbors basically to do because they wanted us to teach them how to garden. And I would do little lives on Facebook. But this allows me to do it on a wider basis. It's also documenting for our purposes when things happen, what's planted where, you know, and things like that. So, this is one of our Cornish. Now, we do have an injury in one of our Cornish. Not sure if he's going to make it or not, but that one right there has a leg injury from the flooding. Well, not really the flooding, but the rain event to them. And something happened to his knee, basically. So hopefully he will recover, because if he doesn't, he will not be able to hold his weight as he grows. But for now, he's doing okay. He walks with a little limp. Alright guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This is Rebecca. Till next time, y'all stay tuned for Friday Fireside Tales with Mark. And we'll do another homestead video on every Tuesday. His tales are Fridays. And they're not stories, they are actual events. So, guys, y'all have fun. Bye. These are all girls we just sorted out. No, sister, no.